Line up, you fucking nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week. The money line. We are live back at it with UFC 284 to break down. I am AJ, joined as always by my guy, Mike Finch. How you doing, bro?
Oh, still on a high from Bellator 290. I mean, I grew up in the era of Chuck Liddell, Dan Henderson, Mark Coleman, and seeing all them live there, Rampage. I mean, the list goes on and on. It was very, very cool to see everybody come out for Fedor's retirement fight. And I even got to hang out with some of the legends afterwards, man. Super, super fun week. And I saw, I got to call in. So you saw some of them cage side, man. I was having fun.
Yeah, no, that was really cool that you called in like that. And we're seeing a lot of the classic names. I was hoping you could get me Steve Howie, Mike Finch. Where was he? Did you ever run into him throughout the whole night?
I believe so. I tried, dude. No, not everybody was there who was on my list. Like, for instance, am I allowed to say that? Should I say that? There was this famous celebrity who didn't come. I probably shouldn't even say it. So I better catch myself right now before I get in trouble.
Listen, Mike Finch, bro. We want the inside scoop. It is.
I know. Shit.
We want inside access, Mike.
That was bad.
So what's going on with your thoughts on Derek Lewis? Like, what are we thinking? Is it fucking game, set, match? Because he got absolutely fucking destroyed. I'm gonna pull it up on the graphic. Last week,
did I kind of call it?
You did. No, you called it beautifully. But Mike, I did not think he would look that. Like, I don't know. I didn't think Spivac, I guess, was that fucking strong either. That's what I'm seeing. Is Spivac's gotten better, man. I think Sergey Spivac's one of the most dangerous grapplers in that weight class. At the end of the day, Curtis Blaydes was not really able to get to Derek Lewis and get him down. Granted, Lewis looks a little worse since then, but regardless of that, Spivac got a fucking big win, man. The way he beat him up on he didn't even beat him up with punches. The way he just could easily drag him to the floor and then strangles him. I was like, all right, Spivac, I know your name now. We have to watch for him.
Spivac got a hold of him easier than Curtis Blaydes did. Curtis Blaydes was shooting at a distance, and that's actually not Curtis Blaydes' strong suit. Razor Blaydes is good once he gets to your hips, but he needed better setups to get there, which I do believe he has now. He's been showing since that Derek Lewis fight. I think in a rematch, Curtis Blaydes runs Derek Lewis over like he's standing on the freeway. But the difference in that one, AJ, is because Derek caught him before Curtis really got to him. If those two are clinched up on the fence, you got to think that that Derek Lewis is going to end up on his back. And I do think Sergey Spivac is a pretty decent contender for that heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division needs it. So it's all going as planned for Dana White. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Get Sergey Spivac a nice win like a Derek Lewis under his belt, and now he's got a little momentum going up there with the Razor Blaydes and with the Cyril Gans and John Jones now.
I think Curtis Blaydes, Sergey Spivac is a very interesting stylistic matchup. That's a fight I want to see down the line for sure. I don't know who they give Spivac next. I didn't do an every fight to make video simply just because, the lack of top names on the card. But I'm thinking, do you go Spivac, Tybura 2? You do that rematch. Both guys are kind of doing pretty well right now. I feel like maybe Spivac, he gets a chance to right that wrong, but he's not getting jumped too high up the rankings. Or does beating Derek Lewis warrant him somebody better? I mean, what's the best name next for Spivac? Because the UFC heavyweight rankings at this point, I don't know if you got them up on screen, Mike.
I'm literally pulling them up.
All right, I'm going to pull them up too. Right now, I'm like...
Stipe Miocic,
okay.
Sergey Pavlovich. That's a fun one. Spivac and Pavlovich is fun.
Okay.
Curtis Blaydes, Tai Tuivasa, Tom Aspinall, Derek Lewis.
He's in a weird spot because he just beat number 7 Derek Lewis,
right?
And he dominated Tai Tuivasa when they fought. It was not even close, and I don't think there'd be a difference. Ty's not taking that fight. Tom Aspinall crushed him. I think he gets the winner of Alexander Volkov and Alexander Romanov. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. He might want to turn around quicker than that, but I feel like that's a good fight. The winner of those two.
That's a great fight. I mean, if you're Sergey Spivac, I'm trying to crack into that top 5, get one of these big names. If he was able to secure a Stipe Miocic fight or something meaningful, he's one win away. If you're gonna make him fight, Romanov, if you're gonna make him fight Volkov, he could still be 2-3 wins away. So that's up to him and the UFC and his handlers. But man, after that win against Derek Lewis, I'd be trying to shoot for top 5 fight if I was Spivac. You at the top of that heavyweight division, I feel like anybody could beat anybody almost, man. So he's definitely top 10. He showed that.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And we had a comment bring up, they're thinking I'm mixing up Romanov and Spivac with fighting Tybura. But no, actually, Sergey Spivac fought Marcin Tybura in 2020. I remember this fight. It was his, third fight in the UFC. He had just beaten, he beat Tai Tuivasa by arm triangle, and then he fought Tybura, lost the decision, and then it was the Carlos Felipe fight. He's gotten a lot better because the Tybura... Absolutely. The Spivac that fought against Carlos Felipe was not impressive at all. But could you imagine you threw a guy like Carlos Felipe at him now? I think he'd eat him alive. There's been so much improvement, and I guess it's just Spivac is a heavyweight that had potential from the start. I mean, he's 28 years old, man. He's young for heavyweight. We see 40-year-old heavyweights, 46-year-old heavyweights even. Sergey Spivac's a baby in the heavyweight division. I could see him challenging for the belt. I really think there's a lot of potential. The guy who blasted him, Tom Aspinall, I think that's the stylistic nightmare matchup for him. I see why that went bad. Knockout power, boxing skill, but also a great grappler. But if you look at anybody else, I'm thinking Cyril Gane has a really great striking game, but on the floor, Sergey Spivac has a big advantage. You think of the likes of Curtis Blades, I think that's a similar, different styles of grappling, but similar skill set matchup. That'd be an interesting fight. I think freaking the other Russian, Sergey Pavlovich, powerful striker, but if he gets taken down, he's in trouble versus Spivac. So yeah, Sergey's in a great spot, man.
Yeah, I think Sergey could beat Spivac. I think that top 5 gives Spivac a lot of trouble, especially if you decide to switch Tai Tuivasa and Tom Aspinall. But Gane, Miocic, Pavlovich. I actually like what you said, though. As far as Cyril Gane goes, they're such opposites that he's actually in that fight. You can't write Sergey Spivac off in a Cyril Gane fight. Cyril Gane really needs to show us what he's got on the ground because, against the champ, it wasn't much.
It wasn't much. And now he's getting a serious test. I'm just considering the possibility that John Jones is over the hill and comes back slower, hittable, and lacking the strength to, control a big dude like Cyril Gane. I threw an early prediction, John Jones, but I don't know. As the fight gets closer, I'm overthinking the time off, which, I'm not overthinking it like a negative. I'm overthinking it as a positive because I feel like ring rust, as we always say, it's a real fucking thing. John Jones fighting in a new weight class. Who knows what the mental state's exactly like? Of course, you can say he's training hard, he's dialing this and that. He's going to make sure it looks to be. But I don't know, man. I really don't know what to expect with John Jones. So I think that fight is 50-50.
Literally the game has changed since John Jones was here. We were talking about, or you were talking about on your show yesterday, Tyson Pedro's calf kicks and how good they are. They weren't even doing calf kicks when John Jones was fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's been that long, AJ. He'll be a completely different person physically, mentally. I'm sure the skill set has even changed a little bit. You wind back a few years and I loved guillotines. That was my favorite choke. My guillotines aren't even that good anymore, but I'm real good at triangle chokes and I'm real good at this and that. Your game will evolve as time goes on. John might actually have different tools. It's been so long that he's been out of the cage, different go-to things that are working for him better now in sparring because he's heavier because of all the time off. So I don't know what to expect with John more than almost any other athlete in the UFC. There's a lot of hidden variables there. As far as Cyril Gane goes, he looked real good against Tai Tuivasa. You could bet he's going to be firing on all cylinders against John Jones. So a much more reliable guy as far as the bet goes. Now, the problem is the grappling, AJ. It's the grappling, man. You get these wrestlers, you get these guys who could take Cyril Gane down. Now we got a problem. You got a Cyril Gane and a Tai Tuivasa. I can go confidently with Gane, right? Yeah. You get Cyril Gane in there with somebody who could take him down, even a Pavlovich. You got to be a little nervous putting money on him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a wild fight. Who knows? We're gonna find out soon. We'll give the official prediction, obviously, when we get close to it. But hey, UFC Vegas 68 was actually a really enjoyable card. I gotta say, I had a lot of fun. Holy shit, bro! You know what was incredible? The road to the UFC debut by the kid Nakamura that I was saying looks like the villain.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I think that guy's got so much potential. He looks so good. Destroyed Kazama in that fight. I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan.
Yeah, well, I was a fan of him coming in. I got to admit, I've had such a whirlwind at Bellator 290. I haven't watched every fight yet. So let me get all of the prelims and the entire fight card down. But he was one of the big ones. I know my parlay and my locks hit, so I was a happy camper on the card. My picks did pretty well. I should come in with the picks record for you guys because I got pretty damn close to perfect on that last one. And I can't pick Bellator fights and. But that card was insane, and I was there live, and I know it was fun having you guys on. And when I work on Saturday, I had enough fights for the weekend. I'll watch all those fights this week, and I'll let you know how badass I thought Nakamura looked too. But yeah, it was cool to have the road to the UFC guys on, and I heard a couple of them had some badass performances. One big favorite lost. Billy Cleary was telling me about this. Which fight?
It was where was it? I'll be honest, man. My memory's fucking shot.
I know.
Kinoshita.
The whole card.
Kinoshita lost. I'll tell you
there
straight out. Kinoshita lost that fight. Listen, bro, I think that we went deep with it. Fedor retiring, sad moment. I think he went way too long with the career. That was a bad look, in my opinion. I think they should have threw him, how you said, bro. I think they should have threw him out to fucking Yoel Romero, a more winnable fight. This was a total mismatch, dude. It was a total mismatch, which is funny because I watched Bellator, then immediately started the live stream for the UFC. As I watched, and I was thinking of Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivac before the fight, where I got nervous as I asked myself, would I pick Ryan Bader or Derek Lewis? I said I'd pick Ryan Bader. Would I pick Ryan Bader or Sergey Spivac? I'm like, fuck, I'll pick Spivac. I was like, damn, bro. My picks, like, I could feel it inside. Like, I just had a bad feeling about Derek Lewis, but it is what it is, man. We keep riding. Last week was good. I want to get into this week, Mike Finch. It's going to be good.
Let's do it. I mean, last thing I'll say, just to draw a parallel, you were talking about John Jones. I think Fedor being out for a couple of years, same thing, especially in his older age. John isn't as old as Fedor, obviously, but Fedor being out for a couple of years probably wasn't good coming in to fight Ryan Bader when Ryan Bader had just beaten Moldavsky. It's like, Fedor's teammate, so he knew exactly how good Moldavsky is. If Bader's getting past Moldavsky and you're giving him Fedor with a 2-year layoff, that couldn't have helped Fedor in his last performance, man. So, but awesome to send the legend off. What a cool fight to work, man. I was watching Fedor Emelianenko when I was just a teenager, buying tickets to go see him and Dan Henderson fight. And then I saw him fight 2 days ago. It's pretty insane.
Shit. My man, Mike Finch. Beautiful moment.
Living the dream.
Fyodor, living the dream, Finch. It's time to get into the UFC, baby. Let's talk. First fight on this UFC 284 card, Zubaira Tukhugov versus Elves Brenner. Mike, I'm obviously picking Tukhugov. I'll let you give your thoughts on the fight if you have some strong ones. I think we going that, Tukhugov for the win. I don't know. I don't think Brenner comes through and pulls this off on short notice.
Shoot the box fighter, Charles Oliveira prospect. You gotta go Brenner knockout. No, come on. Zubaira's a beast. Zubaira's a beast. Zubaira's probably better everywhere too. Yeah. I think he's a better grappler, better wrestler, and it probably handle it on the feet as well. I mean, that's the one place Brenner's probably going to give him a little run for his money. And I don't think Zubaira is going to make any stupid mistakes. He's got a little bit of seasoning under him now too. He's got his feet wet in the UFC more, so he's even got that experience edge. You got to go Zubaira in this fight. The odds should be wide. I don't look up the odds, but you got to go Zubaira in this fight.
Yeah, man. I like Tukhugov a lot, bro. I think that his jab's pretty good. He's like a good boxer, I'd say, pretty quick. Has fought good names. And then I look on the contrary, Brenner, he's fighting, the Brazilian national scene. He trains, like you said, shoot their box. I don't know. I just wasn't overly impressed by the tape. He'll throw up a lot of submission attempts from the bottom, which I like, but he doesn't seem to be like super physically strong. I feel like Tukhugov's going to have the edge and that strength too. I'm going Zubaira Tukhugov to get it done. I think probably finishes the fight. Leaning knockout for sure on this one, Mike.
Brenner has never been finished, so that's why I'm going to lean decision. But I could see it. I could see him potentially being the first one to finish him. I mean, again, the talent level is just different. The experience level is just different, Tukhugov being in the UFC, being an AKA prospect. I mean, how many champions have come out of AKA? You just kind of got that vibe, when you're in there sparring with these guys, you kind of feel like you're at that level. That's where you belong. And he sees a Brenner coming in here. He's got to think it's a sacrificial lamb for him. I think all day you go with AKA, but I'm gonna pick decision on this one.
Decision, totally fair. I think method of victory on this one is like you said, though. If Brenner's never been finished, I'm thinking the UFC level, it might end up running into the hands a little more so, but we shall see. As far as the lines, man, they're wide money line. It's minus 450 for Tukhugov. Elves, Brenner
sounds about right.
Plus 435. Dude, it's wide. Let's see though. Let's see what the KO sitting around. Plus 190 KO Tukhugov. If he is to get the knockout, it's not like my favorite prop, but I do think Tukhugov wins, man. I think Brenner's going to get beaten. He's not ready for the UFC level just yet. At least not this level.
I wouldn't run away from that money line and bet on a finish on this one, but hopefully one of you guys do and prove me wrong. All right. I would just money line it. This might end up in a parlay or something. I know those odds aren't sweet, but I think they are right.
Yeah. I think it should be a bit of a mismatch. I don't know. I'm just trying to even consider thinking maybe it goes longer. I guess I could see it. Tukhugov's got some striking, but it's not like he's a flash knockout artist. He's more of a volume guy. But dude, he's fought so much better competition. I think like he is a very high confident pick to Tukhugov, and the bookies are on the exact same. Like we got crazy ass lines for a reason.
Yeah, he's coming off of beating Ricardo Ramos. Ricardo Ramos, I think, is dangerous in every way more than Brenner.
Agreed. We're on the same side, starting it off, picking the favorite, Zubaira Tukhugov. Next fight on the card, we got Blake Bilder versus Shane Young. City Kickboxing Zone, Shane Young. This was a close one when I'm breaking it down because I'm like, all right, Bilder hasn't looked spectacular, but what I have seen is a guy that can come back from adversity, and he's got pretty good back takes. Problem is he's getting put in spots where he has to come back from this adversity. And now he's fighting a good kickboxer in Shane Young, a less impressive fighter from the City Kickboxing team. Nonetheless, trains with some good fucking competition. I'm going to pick Bilder to win a hard-fought decision here. I think this is a close fight. I'm going to ride with the undefeated guy in this one, and I'll say, he gets a little momentum going. I don't know how high the ceiling is, but I do think he can pull this off against Shane Young, but not an easy fight.
Even odds? Close?
Almost even. Right now, the lines are sitting at Bilder plus 115, Young minus 125. So it's near pick'ems. You get a little plus money on Bilder.
Yeah, I'll double up on Bilder. Look, this is a real test for him. Young is the UFC veteran. It was hard for Volkanovski to take him down in the beginning of that fight. I know Volk ended up starting to rack up some takedowns, and now Volk's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and that just shows you how long Young has been in the cage too. And he's the guy representing, right? He's at home, and it's Bilder flying over from the US. Bilder is a finisher, man. I like that when he takes people down, he's looking for submissions. He's looking to get the fight over with. He's a systematic grappler. You could see it from side control. He'll get to side control and he'll start putting you through that system. Whether your wrist is down, you put it up, you put the wrist up, he hits the key lock and he's finished him, Not it's like one you finish in the gym all the time, but off the top of my head, I've only seen John Jones do it to Vitor Belfort. So he could finish those in the cage. And I like that in a grappler, man. I could see him getting a submission victory here. And if not, the takedowns might just be all he needs, You would imagine that Young has the striking advantage, but Bilder in his interviews is like, I'm better everywhere. I think I could control where this fight takes place. I think Bilder should be hitting takedowns. If he hits the takedowns, I think he wins this fight. Another money line pick for me. I'll say decision. He runs, he's a finisher, so I could absolutely see him finishing Young. But like we said about the last fight, it's UFC level now. This is a real check. How good is Bilder? Can he beat, not to be disrespectful to Young, but a gatekeeper, even a lower level gatekeeper at that? I bet he gets through the gate.
Yeah, I think you can do it, man. As far as the lines, money line, as we said, Bilder sitting at about plus 115. The prop side, me and Mike Finch are leaning decision, but Mike brings up a good point. Bilder is a finisher. Win by sub for Bilder's plus 350. On the opposite side, if you go on decision for Bilder, it's plus 352. So the prop side, I guess, you can ride with decision, but it wouldn't blow my mind if he pulls off a sub. I like the money line. keep it on the safer side. And I think there's a good shot this dog can cash here.
I think so. Slight dog. Well, I got a couple dogs coming up too.
Let's
This was
go,
the
my
slightest
friend.
one. Yeah, man, he's hungry. He's hungry, But we're really gonna get a check here. It's one where you don't have enough evidence. I haven't seen him against UFC caliber guys, so now we get the shot. But I think he's finished his last 4. He's coming in on fire, man. That's a much different story than Young.
No, agreed, bro. Opposite momentums. I think the Bilder side's a good pick. Undefeated too. I think he'll pull this out. Next one though, we have Loma Lookboonmee versus Elise Reed. Mike Finch. I like Loma Lookboonmee's chances. I think the Muay Thai is good. I think she's a physically strong girl, and I think she's gonna beat Elise Reed on the cards. Elise Reed's not a bad fighter. She's pretty well rounded, good kickboxer too. But when I look at the game, I say, damn, the Muay Thai and the explosiveness for Lookboonmee, and I do think she's getting better every time out. She's fought an Angela Hill and went the distance. I'm gonna pick her in this one too. What do you think, Finch?
Yeah, she's much stronger than Reed. Like in the clinch. You watch Lookboonmee and move women around and throw those knees and elbows. She's nasty in there. If you've ever been put in a Thai plum or just those basic Thai frames and moved around by somebody who really knows how to operate that leverage, man, you get moved around and you are uncomfortable. And Elise Reed, I think, really will get messed up in the clinch. Now, at a distance, Elise Reed's okay. I see pretty much anybody who's talked about this fight, I've heard say, Lookboonmee's going to beat her ass on the feet. But Elise Reed's all right with the distance management. I think Elise Reed knows how to slow a fight down a little bit. They're going to be in the big cage. These women will have a lot of room to move around, and Elise Reed likes to move around. I do think that when they clash, when they're in close quarters, that's when Lookboonmee is going to take this fight over. It's going to be hard to take her down. And if Elise Reed had good takedowns, that would be the one thing that you'd say, okay, there's a pathway for her here. She doesn't, AJ. Her takedowns are not consistent enough for me. I have to go with the Muay Thai fighter. And another decision, but I think it'll go all 3.
Okay. Yeah. And I think this one's going all 3. And I feel better about this one going into decision as opposed to, we're talking about the last fight going the distance. Lookboonmee, as far as the odds, is a pretty wide favorite, bro. She's sitting at minus 265, Reed plus 230. I think she can do it though. Like I got to say, like women's MMA, we always talk about the risk, everybody says, don't bet it. This one here, I feel like she can do this thing. Now, it's a wide line at minus 265. It's women's MMA. I'm not saying, go crazy with it, but parlay it up. I don't hate the idea of it. I don't think I'm going to money line it personally, but Lookboonmee, I do think gets it done on all 3 judges' scorecards, unanimous decision. As far as the prop, though, if you wanted Lookboonmee decision, you ain't getting nothing either, minus 110. So, that's unfortunate. It just is what it is.
Minus 110 for decision, though. That's interesting. That's the most likely. I think the most likely outcome here is that Lookboonmee decision, and the next outcomes for me are significantly less likely. So it's one I'll look at. Not my favorite bet on the card, but one I'll look at. And I like what you said. People try to caution not betting on women's MMA. This is one that looks a little more predictable, a little less risky to me.
Yeah, I think Lookboonmee, good pick, man. So we're both riding with her. I like her side. Let's keep running. Let's get to the next fight. This is an interesting fight. I'm excited. It's Jack Jenkins versus Don Shainis. Not an easy out for Jack Jenkins. I am picking him to win, Mike Finch.
Okay.
I feel like he's got the grappling advantage. But Don Shainis is a tough SOB. He's gonna come and bring the heat. I believe he's a New England guy. Let me pull it. I just want to make sure I got it right. I'm like 85% sure. Yeah, he is. He's from Massachusetts. So those guys are tough over there. So I think Jenkins, probably able to control him on the ground, maybe lock up a sub later. He's coming off a bad loss, Shainis, but it's against Sadiq Yusuf, one of the best guys in the weight class. So I don't think he's an easy touch, but I do think Jenkins is better. What do you think, Finch?
Jenkins said in his interviews that he is going to use his takedown defense and strike with Shainis. So I don't like hearing that shit. I can already see.
I don't believe it, bro. I don't believe it.
That's what he said. And I could see AJ don't like it over there in Florida either. So
I don't.
Coast to coast disapproval with that game plan there, Jenkins. Take his ass down because, Shainis is interesting on the feet. He loops his shit. He's a little wild. But it has a technical base to it. He moves his head. He's a little funky with the striking. I like it. I do think I could see him catching catching Jenkins a little bit, but he's not like real fast. And I do think Jenkins can kind of hang with him on the feet. And then, you know, Jenkins isn't stupid on the feet either. I don't think he's just going to like plant his feet and get knocked out. And you're right. I do think Jenkins is better on the ground and could potentially hit those takedowns. But if he's got the wrong game plan, look, I think I'll lean Jenkins too, but it's just a lean. I'm not betting on this fucking fight.
It's going to be a scrap. I think Jenkins, if he sticks to the more grappling heavy game plan, he should get Shainis down at least, you know, 5 times out of 10, I'll say, because I feel like if you look at Shainis' recent fights outside of the UFC, he's a guy that can land takedowns, but he's also getting taken down. So I think in the grappling, he can definitely be put on his back by Jenkins, who I think is a bit better. The stand-up, though, things get weird. You know, Shainis can sit down and bang. I feel like Jenkins could get caught with something. So if he's going to go with a striking game plan, that's a little bit worrying to hear. If you're thinking about backing him with the money, I want grappling heavy Jenkins. And if there's moments of striking success, God bless. But don't like it. As far as the odds for this fight right here, we got Jenkins sitting wide at -325. So a lot of people are going to include him in the parlays. Don Shainis +275. Like, even though we're talking concern with Jenkins, I don't love Don Shainis. I don't think he's a good underdog to play. There's just not enough evidence for me that he can win a UFC fight at this point. He hasn't done it yet. We've seen regional tape. We haven't seen him beat like a top-level guy. So I got to pick Jenkins with some confidence, but worry some is what you said about on media day. He's saying, oh, I want to bang. That's risky to do. I know he's in Australia. The crowd starts cheering, but you don't want to get put flat out in your face in front of your people. So I think stick to what you're good at. Stick with the grappling.
Hype MMA. Jenkins is better everywhere. He's tight on the feet. Yeah, he reaches that rear hand out there and does kind of slow things down on the feet a little bit. But AJ and I are still a little concerned. We'd rather he be a mixed martial arts fighter and mix it up in this fight. I was very interested to hear him talk about that takedown defense and how he wants to strike. It just seems to me and AJ that his best bet would be getting to the top position in this fight. And thanks for the little dono, AJ. You got a little shout out, dog.
My guy, AJ, you're the man. Appreciate your time and dedication. Weigh and recap. Always ride with that. Your bet videos have the best layout. Much love, brother. Listen, Tannis, thank you, my man. I appreciate you. I see you in the live streams. I see you commenting on the videos. Much love to you, my man. I appreciate the continued support, brother. Thank you so much, my man. Yeah. My man.
Both going Jenkins, but I say no bet.
No bet by Mike Finch. I'll be honest. As of right now, I just don't want you guys to run into the parlay buster of bad game plan Jenkins. But most likely, I'll say he gets it done. Most likely.
Add it to the nicknames. Bad game plan Jenkins. Hopefully he does not come through with that shit.
This fight, oh my gosh. The heart's pounding of excitement for this match. I think this might be one of the better fights of the night. All right. We got Jamie Mullarkey versus a dude who's literally just 20 years of age.
That's crazy.
Francisco Prado, Argentine fighter. And he's literally running through the Argentine scene. And now he's jumping into the UFC against a guy who can fight in Jamie Mullarkey. But Mike Finch, we broke at this fight, not this specific one, but a Jamie Mullarkey fight down. And I was picking Jamie. You were against me. And something you would continue to mention is his lack of head movement. And that stuck with me. And now in this fight, I see a young power puncher who's 11-0. I had to go Prado, man, especially Mullarkey. Before fighting Michael Johnson was stopped. Fighting Michael Johnson, we saw him dropped. I think Prado's got some serious pop in the hands, and he loops shots. He throws hooks. He likes to flurry inside. He's a pit bull, and he's never tasted defeat before. He doesn't even know what that is. 11-0. The O's going to be tough to go on this one. I'm going to say I'm going to go Prado, baby. I'm going to take him.
This Prado kid is explosive, man. You could see he hits like Brennan Ward. Like, you know, you meet some of these guys who are just able to turn their whole body into a shot and really sit down on their punches. And Prado's one of those cats, man. He is able to just put a ton of kinetic energy behind that UFC glove. And of course, it's only a second time putting on those UFC gloves. First one was Contender Series, right? So now we're really going to get to see him against, again, to be as respectful as I can, a gatekeeper. Mullarkey's good. Mullarkey's very competent. Mullarkey is UFC level, but he's not great. He doesn't move that cranium of his. And so that's why Jalen Turner's knocking his ass out. And I do think that this young prospect does get through that gate, man. I think he's going to move his head off the center line and throw a big overhand shot that's going to get Mullarkey. Now, is Mullarkey tough enough to weather the storm? Can he come back in the third round? If I was going to lean Mullarkey, the story I would have to tell you guys is that he's going to weather a storm. I just don't think he gets through that storm.
Yeah, I think this kid's too dangerous right now. And I mean, he's beaten decent record guys, right? Like 13-3, 6-0. I know the league is not great. Samurai Fight House. Until seeing his name, I hadn't heard of it. It's an Argentine promotion. Yeah, I think this kid's good. I'm gonna pick him to win, Mike. We're going knockout. Let's get it.
We're doubling up on the newcomer, man. Prado, show us what's up, dude. He's
baby.
Fighting some decent strikers over there, so pretty damn confident on him on the feet. I'm just wondering if he's got the full MMA game. Mullarkey will be another guy to test that for us. But yeah, you're putting a gun to my head. You're making me pick. I think this kid's explosive. Don't tell me he's an underdog.
Oh, he's a big underdog, Mike Finch. He's not just an underdog. Right now, he's sitting at plus 230, bro.
Plus 230.
Yeah,
guys.
It's a play, man.
Come on.
I know it's like got somewhere. So, be intelligent with how much you bet down on it. But I do think Prado's got a real shot to win this thing against Jamie Mullarkey.
I think Prado's got a real shot to win this thing against Jamie Mullarkey. Those odds sound ridiculous.
They do, and I gotta pull up this funny comment right here. AJ getting hair long, looking like Danny DeVito. That's fucking funny, man.
Get them haircuts like me, bro. I keep it clean.
I gotta grow it, man. I gotta grow it out. I'm Jack Jesus, bro.
I'm just trying to get the jacked part. I don't even care about the Jesus part. Fair enough, man. Do your thing, AJ. Prado knockout. Probably the first round.
I'm thinking that too. Let's look at the odd for KO, plus 600. Prado round 1, also plus 600. Prado KO round 1, plus 1,200. I like Prado knockout, plus 600. I think he's got a real shot, man. I think he can catch Jamie Mullarkey.
Last time Mullarkey fought a finisher was Jalen Turner, and he got his ass knocked out. Man. He's tough. Big respect to Jamie Mullarkey for sure. He could potentially weather the storm. Which is why I would just say Moneyline Prado. At those odds, you don't even have to worry about a prop. Moneyline Prado would be one of the better picks, one of the more confident picks I could give you guys on this card. And here he is as an underdog money. Come on.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Prado for the win for us both. Next fight on the card brings us with Shannon Ross versus Clayton Rodrigues. Mike, I'm picking Clayton Rodrigues in this one, but I don't think Shannon Ross is a slouch, man. He's going to bring it to Clayton. I wasn't overly impressed by the CJ Vergara fight. He was giving up position. CJ Vergara was putting a pace on him. Clayton was having a hard time keeping him off of him. Clayton's got some good Muay Thai, some nice kicks. Shannon Ross, tough pressure fighter. I think Clayton can edge this one out and get a UFC win, but I think it's going to be a hard-fought decision in this one.
Yeah, Salvador really showed how many levels there are above a Shannon Ross in the striking department. He's good, but he's just got that style in boxing where he just kind of, he comes forward and it's pretty basic. You need to kind of stand in front of him so he can hit you, as to where Clayton Rodrigues fights at a longer range. He has a wide array of weapons. He doesn't need as high of an output because he's hitting you harder and then moving. I like this matchup for Rodrigues, and I feel like Shannon Ross is going to walk in some shots. It's going to be hard for Shannon Ross to get it in the quarters he wants it as well in that big cage. So, I'm already leaning Rodrigues anyway, plus they're in the big cage, which would help him get that more so Muay Thai range than that more so like old school English boxing range that Ross likes. I know he's Australian. Don't kill me for saying this. I'm just talking about his style. Tyson Fury talks about it, right? He talks about how all the other English guys sort of have this like,
Mike Finch, we're losing you, brother.
Say again?
We're losing you, brother. I can't really hear you that well. You're cutting out.
Mike, check 1, 2, 3. Am I back?
No, you're not back, Mike. I got you. You look like you're in 2004 on the early YouTube videos, bro.
Confirmed robot. Oh my God, they're going in and okay. I'm coming. Should I go out and come back in?
Yeah, see what happens, bro. Do your thing. He sounds robotic, Mike Finch. We lost him for a second. Let's see when he comes back. He lost his Wi-Fi. Mike Finch went out. We're still here, though. We're bringing the heat. I'll answer the chat while we're sitting here. Mike fire sign. Hey, Mike appreciates it. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Do you know when DraftKings prop drop? I don't have the timing that I know that when they drop, but definitely should be before Wednesday. And Strickland's burner. I see you spamming with your smack talk. This guy's fucking hilarious. Strickland's burner. He said he's gonna smash Finch. 144p. Dude, he's in 2006, my man. Let's see if Finch can get back. I'm gonna keep him on screen just so I got full screen, or I got the usual screen, but we're chilling right there. We're chilling in here. Finch is on his way back. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get him back. Here he is. There he is. Mike Finch is back. Let's go.
Are we good?
My guy. Yeah, you're back, bro. You're back. I was like, holy shit. What happened? I said, Mike went robotic.
I am an artificial intelligence being, an AI from the future robot. And that's why my picks are so goddamn good, is because I'm from the future, kids. All right. No, I'm back. Good to be back. Hello.
Mike Finch.
Where was I? Rodrigues decision.
Yes.
Let's go.
Decision Rodrigues, same side. Me and Finch both doing it. I do think he should beat Shannon Ross. Shannon Ross coming off a loss, like you said, on the Contender Series. He got knocked out against Vincia Salvador. I think Clayton's striking will be good enough to beat him. I don't think he's going to flatline him like a Salvador did, but he's going to get his hand raised. So I like Rodrigues to get the W. The lines here, minus 275. Ross plus 270, very wide. Over 2.5 is minus 125. There's a fair shot of that. Rodrigues straight decision line. That's sitting at plus 160. It's not terrible. It's pretty likely, I'd say, pretty possible. But we shall see, man. We shall see.
Hit me with the Clayton Rodrigues knockout.
Clayton Rodrigues knockout is sitting at plus 400.
Plus 400.
Yeah, man.
That's possible, dog.
I think so too, but less likely for me. I don't know. I know Shannon Ross just got flatlined the last one.
Bro, he got knocked out twice by Vincia Salvador. Knocked him out 2 times in that fight. 2
KOs back to back, man.
Yeah, man.
Same fight.
Yeah, straight up. That was a beatdown. It just showed you the stylistic differences. Like if he can't back you up and bully you, they're going to be in that big cage, Jack. That plus 400's an interesting play for some fun on the side. If you don't mind taking some risk, that'd make that fight more exciting. You know, you throw a little $10 at it or something. I just might.
Let's go. Mike Finch and I both riding Clayton Rodrigues for the win. Next fight on the card, it's Josh Culibao versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. It's a real close line, and it is a competitive fight. I'm picking Baghdasaryan on a decision. I think he's just a bit more technical of the striker, and he's going to be able to defend against Culibao's explosions into range, and I feel like kickbox from the outside. When they clinch up, it's competitive. I think he'll do a bit more. I'm picking decision Melsik for me, bro. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, Melsik got past Bruno Silva, who I just think is a much more dangerous striker than Culibao. Culibao's good for sure. Culibao's competent for sure, but I'm gonna pick against him here, man. I think that Melsik Baghdasaryan is a damn good striker. You see his knees, the way he throws knees and kicks are vicious, man, and he's got a lot of experience outside of the UFC as well. So I think he'll be able to. It's kind of a decent matchup for him too. You know, Culibao, good, competent, but pretty vanilla. And I do think the crazy Muay Thai style knees, the big turning hips into the kicks, slamming him into the body. I do think it'll start adding up for him, man. I could see him looking really good. Whether it's a finish or not is tough for me. You know, Culibao probably a pretty tough guy to finish. So let's put him at decision. But if the odds aren't too wide, I do think the matchup is nice for him.
I feel like Culibao in his last fight against Choi, when I watch it, I say, okay, we know Choi is a bit slower on his return. Melsik Baghdasaryan, very quick to bring his setback. Yeah. So I see less opportunities for Culibao's, big striking moments. And in that fight, he struggled at moments with Choi. I think Melsik is a bit more of a technical skill set jump. And I think it's going to be too much of a hurdle to climb. So we're both riding Melsik Baghdasaryan. Lines are very close, though, as I said. Right now, Baghdasaryan is an ever so slight underdog at plus 100. Majority of places have it at minus 115, minus 110, slightly favoring the side of Culibao. Plus 100, Melsik Baghdasaryan. I do think he gets his hand raised in this one. You thinking decision win on this one, too?
Man, this one's tough because I could see him finishing Culibao. You like that better?
Culibao, man, whatever you want to flow it, bro. However you want to flow
Culibao,
it.
my
Culibao.
guy.
Culibao is I think what it is.
Culibao, respect that man. Culibao.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. He could finish him, man. He could potentially finish him. If I'm betting him, I'd money line it.
Yeah, money line, Melsik Baghdasaryan, I think is better than touching the props here. I think he's got a good shot to get the hand raised in this one. He beats Culibao, and let's keep on running up the card, Mike Finch. We got a lot of agreement on these prelims here so far.
I got a super fan. Just wanted to come say hi to the podcast.
The super
here.
fan is in the house.
This is
Holy smokes.
Lola.
Is that it's like Dr. Evil's cap. Mike Finch has got it with hair though.
Lola's Moneyline debut. There you go.
Dude, what's her lock of the week? You got to set out the cards and just have her stomp on them or something like that. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I like that. Do you want to help me with that? I'll see if I can incentivize her with some treats or something. We'll figure something out. I like that because lock of the week's hard sometimes, you know?
It is hard, man. I think we got to get some money on this one. Now, we're jumping to the main card. For the people watching, run the likes up. Make sure you're smashing the hell out of it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Remember, it's Moneyline Mondays from here on out. I know the OGs are used to the Thursday, but we switched it this year to Mondays. So we're bringing the heat every Monday. All right, first one. We're talking about it. Tyson Pedro versus Modestas Bukauskas. This is actually the featured bout of the night. That was a moron moment. Featured prelim, rather. It was a moronic moment for me thinking it was the main card, but it could be on the main card. How about that? Absolutely. Pedro, Bukauskas, Mike Finch. I got to pick Tyson Pedro. I don't think Bukauskas is ready to jump right back against the guy that the UFC is obviously trying to build. Someone in Pedro who rips some nasty low kicks, has got some real power in the hands. He's matured a lot since that long layoff. He's beaten two lesser guys, to say the least, as far as his return fights. Bukauskas is a good jump in competition from that, but one that I think he should be successful in. We've seen Bukauskas knocked out, and I think Pedro also knocks him out.
I agree with you. Before I even break down the card, I want to say I think the feature prelim bout is a better spot to be than the first fight of the main card. I think that feature prelim bout gets their own little commercials and shit. You know, you get a little more promotion. So the reason why they're putting Tyson Pedro in the spot is probably actually because they're going to market it a little better than that first fight on the main card. So make no mistake about it. Tyson Pedro's getting that shine. They want it. I mean, the UFC's got to like it, right? He's destroying these guys, and he looks good doing it. And in this fight, we saw Khalil Roundtree land those hard kicks and sort of take that lead leg out. You could imagine Tyson Pedro doing the exact same thing, man. Yes. He kicks super hard, really low, hit those calf kicks, and he's on a roll. You know, it's gonna be tough to stop him, especially at this level. I think at this level, you got to think Tyson Pedro can get a finish here. We got to keep the ball rolling with him, AJ. I'm gonna go Pedro knockout.
I'm with you, bro. I think that he gets it done. I feel like in the first 2 rounds, Tyson Pedro, minus 230 for Pedro, Bukauskas plus 200. As far as the prop for knockout, it's plus 160. Very playable tag for a guy that I really see getting it done by KO. I know he does have some submission skills too. He hasn't shown that since his return, because right now he's showing off those stand-up skills, but he can definitely grapple. He's got good submission wins. His early UFC career was thought of more so as a grappler, now has become a dangerous striker too, man. I kind of feel like his layoff was maybe the best thing for him, because I feel like at the time that he left, he had lost to Shogun Hua. I don't think there'd be great moments. I think he would have been tossing up and down wins and losses, developing into the fighter that I really think could be a top 15 light heavyweight. He does have the makings, I think, of a ranked guy.
And he's being brought up right now, Now they're bringing him up like they're trying to get him to the top of that mountain. Yeah. This is sort of how you do it with professional boxing, or, somebody who's got a good manager, right? You bring him up slow like this. It's like step up every single time. Now he's taking another step up, and it should work out for him. Modestas, definitely more of a test. It's going to be tougher. But, you got to think Tyson Pedro pretty much shines wherever this fight goes. I can't think of anywhere where he's going to be a fish out of water in this fight. You got to think he's going to win it. And if the odds are wide, maybe by knockout.
Yeah, I like KO. I like that prop plus 160. I feel like what I said about Modestas Bukauskas stands for me. he's a well-rounded guy, but unfortunately he's incredibly average. There's no extraordinary thing that he does. He doesn't bring crazy power. He isn't an excellent kicker with crazy dexterity. He's not a big knockout puncher. He's not a guy that's going to spike you on your damn head. He doesn't have great jiu-jitsu. He's kind of a guy that does everything pretty decent. He's not an easy out. I think, yeah, like you said, though, this is a good test for Tyson Pedro. Bukauskas is a guy towards, I know he was recently released from the UFC, but I feel like he's a back end of the rankings guy that, he'll beat some guys, I believe, that are in the UFC. But when it turns to that next level, and that's why I think Pedro's in a spot where I'm keeping an eye on him, that I see the UFC's investing in him. They think that he's somebody that could do very well in that Australian market, like a Tai Tuivasa. They're hoping that they can get Pedro into, the upper echelon of the weight class, I think.
Yeah, and Bukauskas got knocked out by Jimmy Crute. You got to think Tyson Pedro's as dangerous as Jimmy Crute, brother.
Yeah, we're on the same side, Mike Finch. Pedro for the win by knockout. Now we're actually jumping to the main card. First one, Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menifield.
Speaking of.
Oh, shit. Jimmy Crute. He's coming up right after Mike Finch said that, so he hinted to me what he's picking. So I'm going to let Mike Finch drop his breakdown, but I'll tell you guys before I do, if you don't know my pick, it's Jimmy Crute for the win in this one.
Jimmy Crute for the win. Look, man, Alonzo Menifield is dangerous. I know he's got holes in his game, right? I know that there's an availability there for maybe a submission. There might be an availability to counter him. Jimmy Crute's got that nice slip pull too. He's got hands. I mean, Jimmy Crute's, definitely a live guy in this fight. But he's been out, dude. He got knocked out, and then he took all this time off. What's it been, 2 years? In the last 2 years, Menifield's been fucking people up, man. And, Menifield has looked really good in his last two versus Jimmy Crute having some real problems. Got beat up and hurt against Lionheart Smith. And then we all saw, the current champ knock him out pretty viciously because Crute was getting wild. If Crute's patient, if Crute fights a smart fight, he will win. But I can't bet on him fighting a smart fight after 2 years out, man. I do think that layoff and then coming against the Menifield, who's so dangerous. I mean, on Menifield's side, you can't be making mistakes against this dude. Menifield could put you away. I'm taking the dog on this one. I'm going Menifield. Menifield knocks Crute out.
I respect it, Mike Finch, and I understand that pick. I'll say this: Jimmy Crute, 1 year and 1 month, bro. Just to say the layoff. It wasn't 2 years. It wasn't that. It was still a little bit. It's still a bit. And you know what? Menifield's got 2 wins since then. They fought at the same month. I think Jimmy Crute has a jiu-jitsu skill set advantage, and I think he is the more technical boxer. Now, fair points though. Alonzo Menifield's a more explosive athlete. And pound for pound punching power, I'd probably lean it to Menifield. So if Jimmy Crute's, really unsuccessful with those grappling attempts, but how I was thinking, I was like, William Knight was able to get to Menifield against the cage and with takedowns. Could Jimmy Crute not do that and more? Because when it goes to the ground, his jiu-jitsu is better. That's why I'm riding with Jimmy Crute. And he's young. So I'm thinking, okay, we got a kid that could be, he's a year and a month out. He hurt his knee. He got badly knocked out. But how much improvements can you make from, last time he was fighting, he was, 25. Now he's 26. That's a year of getting better. Young in the weight class for sure. Menifield, more towards, the older side, but really at light heavyweight, whatever, these heavier weight classes, like some of these guys marinate and hit their primes at 34 to 40 at this point, like a Glover Teixeira. So I don't know. We'll see, man. I'm going to pick Jimmy Crute. I'm expecting some improvements, but no counting out Menifield for me either, though.
Menifield knocks out Misha Serkanov, who Misha, I'm sure you remember, Peruvian necktied Jimmy Crute. That was pretty insane, right? Jumped on that crazy Peruvian necktie against him. He's only 35, AJ, so no problem with me on the age for Alonzo Menifield. If anything, I like to see 35 up at those bigger weight classes. You're more so in your prime then, so I think Alonzo Menifield's right in the perfect age category to perform his best. Jimmy Crute, 26. I'd argue Jimmy Crute is not. Jimmy Crute could still get a lot better by the time he's 32. I already talked about the layoff. Yeah, a little over a year. Good. Thank you for that. But looking at some of these. Okay, here's one fun one. Paul Craig wins by Kimura against Paul Craig in 2018. That's pretty impressive, Jimmy Crute. So I could imagine Jimmy Crute snagging a submission here, maybe a neck, since it's going to be hard to like Kimura Menifield since his shoulders are as big as bowling balls. But Menifield's really dangerous on the feet, so I'm going to disagree with you on this one. This will be a fun one, though, right? I mean,
I think so.
Neither of us could be that confident. But looking at this money line, I mean, Alonzo Menifield, so minus 225 if you want to bet on Crute. And then Alonzo Menifield, I'm seeing anyway. This is just Tapology. Plus 190. I think
he's around
that's
plus 180. Yeah. He's
too wide. Too wide.
Fair.
This should be a
Fair
pick'em's
point.
fight. I got to go Menifield with those odds.
Fair, my man. I think it's a good underdog pick, actually, Mike Finch. Mike Finch going dog money. Unfortunately, I'm going on the less valuable favorite, Jimmy Crute, to get it done. And I think he's going to win by sub. That's how I'm kind of seeing it. Potentially hurts Menifield on the feet and then locks up something on the floor. We shall see, man. I've picked against Alonzo a lot in the past, though. So I guess maybe it's not that I'm anti-Alonzo Menifield, but I have been picking against him a bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, as far as Crute to win by sub, I'll just mention it, plus 255. If you like Menifield KO, it's plus 250. Mike Finch is on Menifield. I am on Crute. Let's continue to move up this main card. Next one, it is Justin Tafa versus Parker Porter.
Big boys.
These are big motherfuckers. I got to go with the heavy hitter, Justin Tafa. I'm going to call him to win. I'm going to say knockout. But Parker Porter, if he ends up on top, I mean, he could just control that top position and smother. I mean, you look at the 3 recent wins that he had until he, obviously ran into Jailton Almeida, he's not going to get close to beating. He's able to control guys on the floor. The stand-up's not bad, but his size, he's able to press these guys against the cage, take them down. And when he gets on top, he's hard to shake off. As far as Justin Tafa, it's one-shot KO power, kickboxing as well. He's got a nice high kick win. I'm going to pick Tafa to land, but I think there's a chance Porter controls him on the ground the first round and then Tafa knocks him out in the second. How does Tafa do on the ground? That's a big question. How's the grappling skills? We're going to find out some questions that are going to be answered. I'm going to say he's going to get the KO, though. I'm going to ride with him here, Mike Finch.
I think Tafa's getting taken down on the fence. He's going to get pinned on the ground and beat up by Porky Porter. I think Porky Porter is going to park that wagon right on top, half guard, side control, and he's going to feed him all the pork he wants. And, Tafa does, of course, have the big stones in his hands, man. He could definitely knock any man out. There's no question about it. He even kicks hard. Anything he whips at you is going to land really hard. He's just one of these big fat Samoans who's got a lot of power. And, man, there's a long history of those guys. But I'm going to go with Porky Porter. I think Porky Porter's going to be able to get the takedowns here. If Porky Porter can't, I still think it's competitive on the feet. I don't think Tafa is going to look phenomenal by outstriking him all night. I think if Tafa beats him, it's because he lands a big shot. One big shot follows up and puts Porter out. Porter's tough. We have seen Porter get out grappled by like a Jailton Almeida. Tafa's on the other end of the spectrum, though, dude. Yeah. So I do think Porky Porter's grappling might be significant enough to just out grapple Tafa. If he's smart, he takes this thing on the cards like a 29-28. Maybe he gets out kickboxed a little bit one round, little bloody nose, but he makes it through. I think for Tafa to win, Tafa needs a knockout. If Tafa doesn't knock him out, I think Porky Porter pretty much controls this fight.
I agree with that. I don't know. I'm thinking this too, though. They're putting it on the main card spot in Australia. They really want Tafa to lose. They're throwing him a guy as tricky as Porter to deal with. I don't know. Somebody in the matchmaking rooms either got a vendetta or they know something we don't about Tafa's skill set. Maybe he's improved a lot in the grappling defense, man. That's something we're going to find out. Fun fight. Still a young heavyweight in Tafa. I like the Samoan guys, man. Like, obviously, you see, Tai Tuivasa, and I think that Justin Tafa is a fun guy to watch. I'm going to say he gets the KO, but valid points, Finch. I'm not calling this Justin Tafa lock of the week by any means. He's a minus 120 favorite. Porter at plus 120 is the dog. There's good dog money there. And the knockout prop for Tafa is plus 145. That doesn't really get me excited. Decision Porter is plus 365, Mike.
Yeah, if you guys are thinking Tafa, think about sprinkling that knockout. That's just how this dude wins, right? If you're thinking Porter, that's where just a nice money line could come in. Could you imagine Porter submitting him? It's possible.
That would be fucking interesting. I mean, it wouldn't blow my mind if he got the back. Tafa's tired, and then he locks something under.
Throws a couple hooks, gets the neck. Exactly.
Tafa's not very proven as far as his skills inside of the octagon. Like, he hasn't looked great. I'm kind of thinking that he's better than he's shown, and he's going to be improving a lot. But you look at what we've seen. That's why I found it interesting to see the odds like this. I was like, I'd be more so thinking Tafa plus 170 or something like that, or plus 150. Porter as a fair 2-1 or more favorite. They got it the other way. So we shall see, man. We shall see.
Are you telling me that I get even money? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm going Porter, brother. Going the guy with the more experience. We'll see. It's definitely a test for Tafa. We're gonna learn a lot.
We're gonna learn a lot, Mike Finch. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the next one. It is our featured bout of the night: Jack Della Maddalena versus Randy Brown. Mike, I'm obviously picking Jack Della Maddalena. What are your thoughts on this fight? And specifically, if you're on the same side, do you feel Jack Della Maddalena might be somebody to watch? Because I'm liking the striking game a ton.
Jack Della Maddalena's boxing is so beautiful to watch, man. He's one of the best boxers in mixed martial arts. The way he keeps his defense tight and has really effective offense is nice. You see a lot of people with one or the other. You know, I see a lot of people who use like karate distance and they're really hard to hit, but their offense isn't that effective, right? I could name a couple fighters. I'll skip that part. You guys know what I'm talking about. This guy is able to use the great aspects of defense, moving his head. He actually weaves shots. Like, you're seeing high level boxing mixed in there with the entire MMA game. Jack Della Maddalena is going to be a real problem for Brown. Now, you know, I do think it's on the feet where the biggest, you know, mismatch will be. And especially as this thing goes on, as Brown loses his speed a little bit, as he gets a little bit of lactic acid built up in those shoulders, that's where I see Jack Della Maddalena really putting it on him. Second or third round, I think Jack Della Maddalena could get him out of there, dude. I'm going to go Della Maddalena, let's say third round TKO, throwing bombs on him, you know, going to the body first, coming back upstairs, hitting him with some nice hooks and getting him out of there.
I think Jack Della Maddalena KO win for sure, man. I'm feeling really good about it. So when I watch Jack Della's striking, I'm like, he's got the goods. I mean, obviously there's some great grapplers in that weight class that I think he'd run into some trouble with, but I see him as a future ranked contender. I see him in some really fun fights. I think he could be a star for Australia. It's not like he has a hole in his grappling skill set. It's not like it's bad, but you run into a Shavkat Rakhmonov or, you know, I mean, obviously Hamzat seems like he's going to middleweight, but hypothetically a Hamzat, then I'm concerned a bit. Against strikers, like a guy like Randy Brown has jiu-jitsu, but he's fallen in love with his boxing skills, and he has decent boxing, but he does not have power. Jack Della Maddalena boxes well. He's smooth, crisp, and he knocks him out. If you told me these two were boxing, I'm going Maddalena knockout. In the cage, I'm thinking the exact same thing. I don't think Randy Brown's going to have the wrestling chops to get him down or beat him up or anything like that. I feel like right now, if you ask me, Jack Della Maddalena in a year from now fights Masvidal, I'd say he'd knock him out too. I think he's got that level of stand-up. I think he'd beat him right now. I think he's right now one of the best strikers at 170 pounds. That's what I'm seeing from him.
Now, Jorge Masvidal has looked good in training. I mean, I keep up with these guys all, you know, I'm mildly, I could almost say I'm friends with Johnny Eblen, which is really cool because, you know, Johnny's the best fucking fighter in the world. But, you know, I watch all of their stuff. They're constantly posting little clips of them sparring, Poirier sparring with him. I mean, I could imagine, honestly, Jorge Masvidal looking better than ever because he's been living in that gym. That's a really good sign. But overall, is Jack Della Maddalena better? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Jack Della Maddalena could be significantly better at striking than Jorge Masvidal. I know he doesn't have the name. I know you guys aren't going to buy the pay-per-view like you buy Jorge's pay-per-views, but Jack Della Maddalena has the goods, and he's going to look good against Randy Brown because of the matchup, man. Brown is not a bad matchup for him, like you said, about like grapplers, great wrestlers, Hamzat. Obviously Hamzat, but even just great wrestlers, that'll be more interesting than this matchup. You got to go Della Maddalena with the hands.
I like it, dude. I'm really excited to see what he brings. I feel like you're looking at a guy, his face, I see it at the higher level, that broken nose, like he's marketable too. He's an Aussie guy. He's going to build a big fan base, and I think he's a future contender. I think he beats
Justin Villegas. Della, you rich now. Fix your fucking nose, bro. Yeah, I mean,
no, I like it like that. Leave it as it is, man. That nose is meant. So what is he gonna get it snapped back to the other side if he fixes it?
Bro, how well do you think he breathe out of his right nostril? I mean, come on.
I don't even think he needs it. His left is so large that he's good to go. He doesn't need it. He breathes great. It's like breathing through two nostrils just out of one. This guy, he's got the goods, my man. I think he's sleeping, this dude.
You can notice. See how only one nostril moves?
Yeah, what is that?
I have the same problem, man. Deviated septum. It's not good for these fighters. Hamzat Chimaev has it. We get punched in the face and our noses get messed up. So Jack Della Maddalena, Don't listen to Dana White. Go get that nose surgery, okay, that he told Misha Tate not to get. Go get that nose surgery so you could breathe, bro, because breathing is very key in a fist fight, AJ. It's really nice, right? It's really nice.
Pre-nose, though. Vanderlei's nose, after he got it fixed, he got worse, dude.
Right. Dirty Reg, obviously saying what Dana said. We'll just pull him up, leave it like it is. Why fix it when it will be broken again? The reason why, Dirty Reg, is because when you can't breathe out of your nose, you have to breathe out of your ass. No, of course you have to breathe out of your mouth, and that means you could get knocked out. You're more susceptible to getting KO'd. You don't want to get punched in the face with an open mouth. Really bad for your jaw. Ask Colby Covington.
True. You know, they say like 0.05% of people can get oxygen out of their ass breathing.
Pause. Skip.
Science, Mike Finch. That's science, bro. That's fact. That's what I've heard, man. That's what I heard.
My connection's gone again, bro. My connection's
You're
fuzzy.
gone. You're right. You look good though. You look good. I hear you fine.
I'm joking, brother.
I thought you were dead serious, man.
That was hilarious, AJ. Thank you for that.
That was funny, right? All right, let's look at the odds real quick. We're not gonna go off on this fucking bullshit tangent over here. All right, Maddalena minus 300, Randy Brown plus 270. Maddalena by KO is minus 135. He's getting the knockout. He's gonna sleep his opponent in Randy Brown. That is a fact, man. If that doesn't happen, you're gonna see shock on my face, bro. You're gonna see fucking shock on my face, bro.
Fireside, I agree with that comment. Yes, absolutely. This is tailor-made matchup for Jack Dell and Maddalena. One of the more confident picks on this card.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. Next fight, co-main event of the evening. Yair Rodrigues versus Josh Emmett. Oh, shit.
Let's go.
Mike Finch. This is going to be a good one. And I'm going to tell the people my pick if they don't know. It's Emmett. But I want to hear Mike Finch's side. What are your thoughts?
Listen, the first thing I said when I heard this matchup, I thought, shit, I think Josh Emmett with the hands, dude. And then I had a disagreement with somebody who makes professional picks as well. And I heard him out. And I thought, you know what? These guys fight at different ranges. Yair Rodrigues is so damn dangerous with those legs. And then I'm thinking more about it, and I'm thinking they're in the big cage. They're not in that little phone booth where Shane Burgos fought. Where Shane Burgos fought with them, and where Emmett was able to get a lot of his big wins. They're in the big cage where it's going to be harder for Emmett to cut him off. It's going to be harder for Emmett to grapple him. I think Josh Emmett is better with the wrestling, better with the Rodrigues definitely has nice jiu-jitsu. I can't hate on the jiu-jitsu, but Emmett's so much physically stronger. But on the feet, he's not faster. He's more powerful, but it's pretty much with his hands. And I don't think they'll spend a lot of time in punching range. He's only got 15 minutes to knock him out. I think if this thing goes to the scorecards, I can imagine Rodrigues firing at a much higher clip, kicking him in the calves, the quads, moving around, spinning, jumping, doing some damage, cutting Emmett up a little bit. I like his elbows. I like his kicks, man. I think Rodrigues can win this fight. It's a damn good fight. Emmett's a big problem. Team Uriah Faber just got a W on Saturday when they walked Chris Gonzalez in there to get that knockout win. That was sick. And here's another Uriah Faber prospect. I know they're good over there. I know they've got a lot of champions, but I do think Emmett's physicality is going to be hard to come through in that big cage against a rangy striker like Yair Rodrigues. AJ, how's he going to get to him? How's he going to close that distance without getting tagged up with 2, 3, 4 shots before Emmett can land one? I'm going to go Yair. I'm going to take him in a decision where he lands more shots.
What about this possibility, right? Later in the fight, that explosion that you see from Yair is going to be diminished. I think Emmett is going to find success as we enter third, fourth, fifth round. And I think Josh Emmett wins this fight by stealing the later rounds. I think first round, Yair Rodrigues' speed is going to be extremely difficult. I think that Josh Emmett's going to be getting kicked from the outside, trying to figure out range. There's 100% a shot Yair knocks him out with a high kick. It's definitely possible. We know he's got the kicking capabilities. But if Josh Emmett and him are going longer, if Josh can get a bit of clinching going, maybe land a takedown, get some boxing in the close range, back him up, I think he can steal a decision. Very difficult fight. I'm picking Josh Emmett to get it done close fight, hard win. looking forward to it. How do you think that it goes? Do you think it's very wide towards Rodrigues or competitive?
The entire chat just corrected me, so let me correct it. 5 rounds for the interim title. Of course, it's a 25-minute fight.
Yeah.
That does make a difference.
You would think, mentally, I didn't realize you were thinking 3, man. Yeah. It's the number
Here
one
in my head, I'm
contender,
thinking
5
3.
rounds.
No, it's a very important. I even watched the countdown show. How dare I? How dare I say 3 rounds? I think that Emmett, even in a 5-round fight now, is Emmett's style really 5 rounds? He just seems like a bomber to me, man. So, my biggest concern here is that he can't land those bombs because of range management problems and output problems too. I think Yair is going to just have twice as high of an output, AJ. That's how I see this fight unfolding, though.
Sure.
I see it as Emmett keeps trying to land a left hook or a right hook, and he has a lot of trouble doing it. Shane Burgos engages with you a lot more.
Sure.
Some of these big wins that Emmett's got, even Calvin Kattar, like they kind of fight fire with fire. Rodrigues is much more unpredictable.
Rodrigues is unpredictable. I agree with that a lot. I guess my concerns are in the way he's finishing these fights, even against Max Holloway. Last round, he's getting dominated. It's like super good early, looks like a fucking world beater. Slowly, less. Obviously, Max Holloway is one of the best in the world, but regardless, I do have to pick Josh Emmett on how he finishes fights. I went back and when I was watching side by side, Kattar versus Emmett, and then Holloway versus Rodrigues, I'm like, damn, I know Emmett's going to finish stronger. So that's what swayed me by a little bit. So we're going Josh Emmett, competitive decision for me on that one.
AJ, you said it, and 10th Planet Striking's calling me out. Yeah. So let's get it. He looked better after 5 rounds with Calvin rather than Yair did after 25 minutes with Max. Did you motherfuckers just compare Calvin Kattar to Max Holloway? Have you guys ever seen Max Holloway fight Calvin Kattar? How the fuck did Calvin Kattar look after 5 rounds with Max Holloway? I don't think he looked that good, boys. Apples and oranges. Come on, guys. Come on. Max Holloway moves a lot better than Calvin Kattar. And that's what I'm saying here. I'm saying the movement is going to be a significant different. 10th Planet Striking. And I get the joke because 10th Planet's a jiu-jitsu gym. They don't even strike over there.
Yeah, man. We shall see, bro. We shall see. I'm going to go the opposite side of you, bro. I'm going to go Emmett. And then we got Mike Finch on Rodrigues. Now, as far as betting lines for this fight here, Emmett's a slight favorite, a slight underdog, plus 150, excuse me on that one. Yeah, Yair minus 155. So you got Emmett, a little bit of plus money. It's going to be an interesting fight. I'm going dog money. I think you can, I'm gonna look at it for sure. We'll talk about if I'm actually going to throw down on it by fucking this week's Best of My May Bets Wednesday. But it's obviously a difficult fight because Yair Rodrigues looks better than ever. And he did compete well against Max Holloway and he was beating Brian Ortega. Unfortunately, injury ended that thing, but he was looking good. He looked like he was on his way to winning it, but that was only 1 round of what we saw. Prop side of things, going longer. If you like the chances of fight goes distance, is minus 130. If you're thinking decision win for Josh Emmett, you got plus 335. On the flip side, plus 155 for Yair Rodrigues to win a decision. Interesting fight for sure, though. I love this co-main event. I think they're going to bring the heat. And it's a difficult matchup that awaits with fighting the champion who's challenging in our next fight, in our main event. We got Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Guys, make sure you smash the likes in if you're new, subscribe. This fight's incredible because you have number 1, number 2 pound for pound. This doesn't happen commonly in any combat sport. And we're going to find out who's got the goods. I feel like Alexander Volkanovski is a tremendous fighter at 145, but he is so undersized. I feel like Makhachev could go to 70 and be a successful guy, potentially even have the strap. I couldn't say the same with Volk. When he feels Dagestan, when he feels that power, Volkanovski's not going to know how to deal with that. I know he brings in Craig Jones, who's a phenomenal grappler. He's not Islam Makhachev. Islam can also strike fairly well, too. There's no way you say Islam Makhachev is getting completely outgunned on the feet. Volkanovski was teeing off on Chan Sung Jung. He couldn't put him down. He didn't put him out. Chan Sung Jung stood there and took a beating. Volkanovski doesn't have one-touch KO power, and I think the way you beat a Makhachev is you have to be explosive with KO power, and I don't think that's even very likely that you'd win, even if I give you that, even if I give you the Michael Chandler knockout power. I still think Makhachev's winning. So I'm going Makhachev to win. He drowns him. I'm thinking third round submission, but I could see ground and pound TKO too. I'm all over Islam, bro.
Wow. So AJ just said even if you gave Volkanovski mythically, just gave him and just cranked up his power, he's still taking the L to Islam Makhachev. Now that's some confidence. Look, I think the biggest thing people overlook here is they laugh about what is this short guy? And you know what? Yeah, Volkanovski's a lot shorter. That makes him harder to take down, dude. It's going to be hard for Islam Makhachev to change levels and take him down on the fence like he likes to do all the time. Volk knows how to split those legs wide. He knows how to jack that body lock up. It's going to need to be from that over under, from double overhooks, from double underhooks, wherever they have a clinch. I want to see Islam Makhachev going for trips and throws. That's how he can take Volkanovski down. If Volkanovski pushes away from that thing, it's very hard to wrestle somebody who's moving side to side and backwards like Volkanovski knows how to do. And I've been saying it all night. The cage makes a difference. They're in that big cage. It's a plus for Volkanovski. He's going to try to kick those legs. He's going to move side to side. I think this will be the first time we see Islam Makhachev getting actually outpointed on the feet, actually missing multiple takedowns, takedown after takedown in this fight. The thing is, once he gets the takedown, once he gets a hold of Volkanovski and drags Volk onto the ground, he should be dominating from that point on. Volkanovski can pop up underneath anybody else, but a Islam Makhachev is a totally different beast, man. When Islam's on top of people, it's like Mortal Kombat. You just see their life bar just going down, just going away. And so that's where Islam Makhachev really starts dominating from half guard, where he can get all the pins, right? You want the shoulder blades on the mat, you want the hips on the mat, you want to jack up that underhook on the far side, create diagonal control. So if he has Volkanovski's left leg, he's going to want the right side underhook underneath Volkanovski's right armpit, and then Volk's not going anywhere when Islam has his control, right? And I want to see that Dagestani handcuff with the hook in on the other side, because it's the same idea. He puts the hook in on the right leg, he controls the far left wrist. I don't care if you're Volk, I don't care who you are, you're not getting up. You're not getting up easily underneath that shit. So Volkanovski, one of the harder guys to hold down, but that will be the difference, is this is the one guy in the UFC who can hold him down. But as far as the actual takedowns go, as far as the actual striking out there goes, it seems to me that I think this will be more competitive than you do. And part of it is because Volkanovski is the same height as Hasbulla, and they're very hard to get a hold of, man. It's going to be a weird one for the champion, Islam Makhachev. And one more thing, props to the UFC for making this fight, because, when you hear number one, number two, pound for pound, you would love for it to be somebody with, as many title defenses as Volk fighting Volk. But Islam newer to the belt, and lightweight's like the deepest division in the UFC. And here they go. They still risk it. They still put up Volkanovski against him. It's a cool one because you're seeing two guys who are truly in their prime. One of the more fun fights of the year. You got to love it. Props to the UFC for making this one happen. I will side with you on Islam Makhachev. I will go ahead and pick Islam Makhachev, but they might go all 5 rounds, dude. If they don't, it's because Islam gets something done from the top position. I'll pick Islam Makhachev in a decision in a fight where he loses 1 or 2 rounds.
Mike Finch, he's liking Volkanovski, man. You're a big Volk guy these days, Mike.
I picked against Volk with Max Holloway.
I know you did. I know.
Styles make fights, And by the way, I thought Max did win one of those Volk fights. Anyway, I think styles make fights, obviously, and the way that these two match up, I could imagine Volk throwing like twice as many shots, especially kicks, and I could imagine it for me pretty hard for Islam to take him down in the center of the cage. Let's not sleep on Islam's hands. Islam could hurt Volk. I mean, AJ, would you say Islam hits harder than Volk? I would.
Power could be, arguably harder, especially because he dropped Oliveira. So, I would say maybe. I don't know. I guess how I think it's going to go is I think that Islam is going to put on one of those performances. You're like, oh, wow, Islam looks solid. And I don't think Volk looks like a slouch by any means. I feel like he's still throwing back. He's giving it everything because he's one of the best, man. Volkanovski's the best featherweight we've seen at this point. And it's a great opportunity to jump up. If he wins up, that's going to be fucking mind boggling. If he wins, Mike Finch, is he in your GOAT conversation then? Because I know we were talking about this before and you said, no, he has to be then.
Yes. If Volkanovski can beat Islam Makhachev, that catapults him up into the greatest of all time conversation. He would deserve it at that point. At that point, you got to be thinking, well, what would a Khabib look like against him?
Right.
And Khabib's like saying that Islam Makhachev is a better wrestler than him. So we'll see.
We'll see. We're going Makhachev for the win. I'm thinking Finch on the decision. As far as the lines for this fight, Makhachev is a wide favorite, as expected, at -355. Opposite side, Volk +315. If you're thinking this fight's going longer, the plus money for Makhachev via decision is +215. If you're thinking it's an inside the distance win, it's -105 Makhachev. Makhachev KO TKO is +400. On the other side, Makhachev by sub, which I also think is very possible, +160. Money line is wide. There's ways to play it. If you're on Mike Finch's side thinking decision, you get nice plus money on that prop. And then the over for 2.5 rounds is -150. I do think there's a fair shot this thing goes over 2.5 rounds.
Yes, it's hard to finish Alex Volkanovski. He's been in there with some high-level black belts. Pretty damn hard to finish him. And the number one thing that these Dagestanis do, especially Islam Makhachev, is they take your energy. What they've done to get these finishes is they break people's spirit. They break their cardio down. They get lactic acid built up in your muscles. Have you guys ever seen Volkanovski tired? Volkanovski is a workhorse. He's made for this fight.
Agreed. I'm hyped, man. I think he's going to get beaten, but he gives a good enough showing, and he's still the featherweight champion, still one of the best, I think, of all time. I think he's up there. He's like a featherweight GSP, but he's just biting off more than he can chew with Team Dagestan. Mike Finch, you know what time it is, though? We got to jump to our UFC 284 Lock of the Night section. Lock of the night for UFC 284. Mike Finch, it is your floor. Give us the lock, brother.
I smashed him last week. I'm going to really swing for the fences on this one. How dare I pick a 20-year-old kid for lock of the night? Am I out of my mind? I just could not believe the odds when I saw it. Against Jamie Mullarkey, you got to go Prado. I think he's getting the knockout. You guys could just money line him. My lock of the night is the 20-year-old Savage making his true UFC debut. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think I'm taking a crack at it. We'll go Prado, lock of the night.
I like Prado a ton. He's one of my favorite underdogs this whole card. I find myself in a very tricky situation, man. Normally, I like to be more on the wild side for calling my lock. I like to join Mike Finch on the momentum. I'm not going to steal Mike Finch and go with the big dog. That's his shine. That's his thing. That's how he's feeling. My true feeling before I did the show, I said, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go Jack Della Maddalena at -300 as the lock. I know it's not a great tag. I understand, but I think the likelihood is just there for sure. I don't see him losing this fight. This is one of my more confident picks of the year so far, I would say, in picking Jack Della Maddalena. And -300, it's very wide, but I think if you go hard at it, you can get a little something back on it. I think it's a really good shot. Jack Della Maddalena is, in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's an investment. And this is a guy I'd invest in. This is a stock that, you're thinking rises. This is the one. This is you know what I'm saying? He's not volatile. He's not up and down. He's not like some fucking, I don't know, some one of those cryptos that are up and down. You know what I'm saying? This is consistent pick for me. So I'm investing in him. I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena. I'm sorry, but it's -300. We'll get you excited with dogs with this week's best MMA bets. I'll bring a dog out for sure. And I got some nice dog money play on the way that you'll hear. And Mike Finch is on a dog, so you guys can't be disappointed. And I'm picking that dog, and I think that I'm also playing that dog too. So
why not, right? If it doesn't end up as a straight bet for me, it'll end up in a parlay. I just think Pedro is going to look good. And I like your pick of Jack Della Maddalena. I'm high on Jack Della Maddalena as well. And hearing that it's one of your more confident picks of the year, I'm glad you locked it, bro. Sometimes we need to give people those types of locks. That's beautiful. And I think that I think a couple of dollars might leave my wallet on Jack as well.
Let's go, my man. Mike Finch and I both got some locks for you guys, but now it's time for the parlay.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Parlay time. Mike, give me your parlay this week. What are you feeling?
Let's go with Clayson Rodrigues. I think it's like plus 400 for him to get the knockout. That would be crazy. Just because it's a parlay, I'm going to money line it. But I gotta admit, I was looking at that plus 400 after AJ said that. That was pretty sweet. And then let's go ahead and throw in Mr. Calf Kicks himself, Tyson Pedro. I do think he'll look good in this fight. Give me Pedro. Give me Clayson Rodrigues. And if you're feeling super crazy, you know that Jack Della Maddalena could end up in that parlay too. Just give me the 2, AJ.
All right, the 2 is minus 115.
I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I like it, Mike Finch. I like what you're thinking. I am going to remove the side of Clayton Rodrigues on this one because I didn't bring the heat with the value on the last one. I think I got a money one to play with this one. We'll go Melsik Baghdasaryan, Tyson Pedro at plus 180, but that's not my finished product. I feel like I got to throw my guy, Jack Della Maddalena, in this thing at plus 275. You go Pedro, Baghdasaryan, Della Maddalena, you get some nice plus money. And if you were like, listen, I got fucking balls of steel, I want to play big dog money. You like Prado too, you got plus 1,000 if you threw him down. So just some crazy options of, the parlays. We're going ballistic. When I go parlays, I get out of hand, Mike Finch. I get out of pocket, man.
Plus 1,000. I feel like getting out of pocket as well, dude. That sounds like some pocket change, my brother. So maybe we'll look at that one as well. I don't know. I saw somebody asking if I sell my picks. I think I need to. I think I need to place the bets so I lock them in and then let you guys know. We'll figure it out. But for now, you guys can get all my picks every single Monday at 5 p.m. live on MMA Experts channel with AJ DeVito. And dude, I like our locks and our parlays on this one. I gotta say those sound pretty good.
I'm feeling really good about this week as far as the picks and the bets, man. Last week, I believe my record was 6-4-1. Should have been 7-4. That Duho Choi fight, holy shit! They took a point for an accidental headbutt. I'm like, we're not taking points for grabbing the cage, for kicking in the balls, for eye gouging, or I guess not eye gouging, but eye pokes. You got a guy that leans forward a bit. He accidentally clashes heads. Point taken. Man. I guess it was because of the blood. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear Dana White paid him his win money. That's classy, man. He deserves that.
But Duho Choi can't catch a break. He's 0-3-1 in his last 4. He hasn't won in like 7 years, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But you got to think he comes in more confident now after that shit, and got his win bonus, so at least he's going to eat. Yeah. And one of the more exciting fighters in the UFC. You don't want to see that shit happen to a good dude like Duhu.
Yeah, I was disappointed for him, but hey, that's the game, Mike Finch. All right, let's talk just some relevant MMA news real quick. What do you think, bro? Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, Ultimate Fighter. How you feeling?
I mean, I think it's kind of a tough matchup for Conor. I think it's the right pick for the Ultimate Fighter. You know, I think that the Ultimate Fighter is going to be very entertaining with Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor. What was your other option? To put Tony Ferguson in there? Tony Ferguson says some weird shit. He's kind of a funky dude, you know. The fight, though, the fight between Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor, that's one where I think I would lean McGregor, right? I do think that Tony is well past the El Cucuy of old. And, Michael Chandler, on the other hand, is a damn pit bull in that cage. I think it'll be a lot of problems for Conor. Conor, of course, can knock him out. Like, that's possible. But as far as Conor coming back from his reconstructed leg, it's kind of a tough fight, dude. So when I heard them make that matchup, I thought, damn, they could have given Conor an easier out than that. Same thing I thought with the Dustin Poirier one. And, we all know what happened with Dustin Poirier. And might I add, I got to hang out with Dustin Poirier a couple times last week. I saw him in the hotel. We were talking backstage. I got a little video with him. It's up on my YouTube right now, Mike Finch MMA, and of course out on Instagram and whatnot. So I got to talk to Dustin, and I asked him about this fight. I said, Dustin, your children are fighting each other. What do you think? He said he's a proud papa, AJ. He said he's a proud papa now. Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor for the Ultimate Fighter. It'll be fun.
Mike, your camera looks incredible in this thing. I just liked it. Guys, go run over and check out Mike Finch and Dustin Poirier. I think when I look at this fight with Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, anything could happen, really. It's a crazy-ass fight. I think that Conor could catch him for sure. If there's one guy that comes inside recklessly that Conor could find the sweet shot, it would be a Michael Chandler. But on the contrary, Michael Chandler could take Conor down beat him up from the top. I mean, it seems like Conor's bottom game, at least defensively, looks worse after the Khabib fight. I don't know. Like against Poirier, he didn't look good on his back. And I feel like in earlier fights, even, against Khabib, he survived. He was getting beaten, but he still survives the storm. We'll see, bro. Tricky fight. I'm going to pick no one right now because the fight's, a ways away. We're going to watch the whole season, but I want to ask you, are you going to watch the Ultimate Fighter this season?
Of course. It's
Great.
great.
Like I was a kid again for this. Last season with Pena and Nunes, bro, I watched the first 4 episodes and then I just started watching the fights only because I didn't care. This, I'm going to be on the show watching it like a kid. I said this, Mike Finch. I made a video a while back. It didn't do good, but, it's a good video. How to save the Ultimate Fighter. Marquee names as coaches, mainstream network, but I also mentioned incentivizing the fighters more. I want the $100,000 grand prize for the winner. I'm sick of this shit with this 6-figure contract. We gave that out in 2005. How much have prices increased since then? What was gas then? $2 fucking bucks, $150? Holy shit. Let's at least give them a $200,000 contract. Get them a little more money. Holy shit. They need to pay these guys a grand prize instead and then just give them the base UFC contract or something like that, or give them, a one-up level. I don't like the way that they're paying them like it's 2005 for winning the Ultimate Fighter. And this is why the Ultimate Fighter suffers as a show. Because if I'm a fighter and I know there's a Contender Series or I fight for LFA, I can get a big win there, or PFL Challenger Series. Now, do the Ultimate Fighter is like a fucking military camp. It's like you can't talk to anybody from the outside world. They make it these crazy restrictions, a very difficult thing to accomplish. And I'm getting a pretty bad contract. Like in 2005, 20 to fight is a good deal, right? 20,000. Now, yeah, it's great for a UFC debuting guy, but if you win the Ultimate Fighter, to me, you're somebody that's accomplished a very difficult feat, and the UFC should push you towards success. Look at recent winners of the show. Ricky Tercios, he's taken losses already. Yeah. It seems like these guys that are coming in are not guys that are future, title challengers. I want them to find contenders on the come up, man. And I think Conor is a coach, Michael Chandler is a coach. If you're a fighter, you're like, those are great minds I can learn from. But also, if you had $100,000 grand prize, you'd have every dude with skills saying, I want in.
Well, two things there. One, on the Contender Series, they finally did get a champion. Jamal Hill became champion, right? So Contender Series finally has done what the Ultimate Fighter has historically done, which is put somebody up there to get that belt. It's newer, so of course that's their first one, and it won't be their last. As far as this Ultimate Fighter goes, AJ, you're saying the first thing you're looking at is whether or not Michael Chandler and Conor can coach. Fuck that. I'm on the show because Conor McGregor is a coach on the show. Everybody and their grandma is going to be watching. It's phenomenal promotion. It would be way smarter to do Team McGregor Ultimate Fighter instead of coming up on the Contender Series. I mean, is maybe 20 times more eyeballs. I don't know. It's more than double. So, that's a big difference having Conor McGregor as a coach on the Ultimate Fighter. The reason why I'm doing that season is definitely because it's going to generate a lot of awareness for me and my brand. So super important to do this season of the Ultimate Fighter over a normal season, as I'm sure you were referring to.
Right.
So yeah, this one, the incentives are real, man. I would definitely, if I had a fighter, be like, take that freaking contract for that Ultimate Fighter. I don't care if you're getting paid shit, because when you come off that show, if you do anything of note on that show, if you get in a drunk fist fight with some asshole in the house, it's still going to be better promotion than being on the Contender Series.
Yeah, true. I guess this is the incentive now. You get eyes on you. The Juliana Pena season with Nunes, you don't have many eyes. This is going to be crazy, bro. I'm so excited. Yeah, I guess the grand prize, if they don't do it, it's not the end of the world. It's at least you're getting crazy publicity. But I do think $100,000 for the winner of the show would be a cool thing to do.
10th Planet striking again, and it's going to be on Real ESPN like a show too, instead of just a stream. Yeah, I know they go back and forth, right? Whether or not it's going to be the stream or not. So interesting.
Lightweights stuff. And bantamweights is the weight classes I'm hearing.
Perfect. And you know what I like what Conor said? He said, I'm going doing the Ultimate Fighter because it's full immersion, right? He's going to be fully immersed in the sport again. Very important, because I think some of these rich guys, specifically Connor, from what I hear from listening to John Kavanaugh and just knowing a couple people who go by and do a little media at that gym, is that Connor is inconsistent at best, shows up late, will skip training sessions, things like this. It's going to be a great immersive experience for Connor. I like that he put his finger on that. That's important for him coming back. It's important for him to especially come back from this injury, right? Having had a lot of sparring and a lot of confidence underneath him, and him moving around with all these kids. And the bantamweights will be good for him too, but the featherweights, right? It'll be really good for him as far as preparing for a beast like Michael Chandler.
Dude, you know how much money this fight's going to end up generating? Publicity all through the season on ESPN. There's definitely going to be heated moments, which are going to get a lot of eyes. Holy shit, I'm telling you, bro. Connor is going to help sell this fight. Chandler will meet him in the middle. This could be one of the bigger pay-per-views of all time. This fight is huge. It doesn't need a belt on the line. If you then intelligently place with some undercard names that you want eyes on, holy shit, this could be just a great opportunity to obviously make a fuckload of money, but also build some stars on the come up under Connor.
100%. Big opportunity for everybody, and it makes a lot of sense. So I guess it was the right move. The one thing I just have about it is I think Michael Chandler's is a tougher test than they needed against Connor if they want longevity out of Connor. If you want to see McGregor have 5+ more fights, then bringing him in against Michael Chandler was probably on the higher end of the competitive level, if that makes sense. I bring this up, but it's important to bring up because before Dustin Poirier, Connor was like, I want to fight Diego Sanchez. And I think now we know why, as Connor kind of needed to warm back up again. And all he's done is get hurt by a very, very talented Dustin Poirier, but Michael Chandler is of a similar level. Dustin Poirier obviously having fun saying these are his children, proud papa or whatever, because he beat them both. But on a real note, I mean, Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier was a competitive fight. It was a good fight.
Right.
What will McGregor and Chandler look like? Probably a pretty damn good fight, and one where you can't bet your house on Conor McGregor, right? So interesting that they made this choice, AJ. I think they did, partially because what you just said. It's a fun fight. People want to see this fight.
Yeah, and let's say Connor is really past the point of competitiveness. Let's say you throw him Tony Ferguson and he loses that fight. There's Chandler fight. There's nothing there. At least this one here, even with a loss, Tony Ferguson follows it. That's still a big fight. People will be tuned in. I don't see Conor McGregor ever in a co-main event. So, how many more fights, if he's losing all these fights, does he have? I have no fucking idea.
Very good point. And one that I'm glad you voiced is that if Chandler wins, the UFC has a road for Chandler and Connor. Yeah. If Tony Ferguson wins, it was less juicy for the UFC, right? Yeah. They don't have great Tony Ferguson matchups ready to go. Tony's in his 40s. So yes, this one makes sense, win or lose, and that would be another reason to choose this fight. Good point, AJ.
It's like a risk-reward mindset. I think, okay, we're risking Conor McGregor losing. It's a very legitimate possibility that Michael Chandler knocks him out or beats him in general. But Michael Chandler winning could challenge for a lightweight title. I don't think people would hate the idea of him versus Islam Makhachev or whoever's champion at that point. Could fight in another big fight versus a top contender. Could rematch a Gaethje. They could throw him a Poirier again. Whatever. Maybe he wants to do a run at 170 and they throw him a big matchup there. Whereas Tony Ferguson, he's more no man's land, and he just lost to Nate, who's outside the UFC. So that matchup is then dead with Conor and him. So right now I'm thinking of it like this. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, win or lose, there's fights left for Conor. There's a Nate Diaz, certainly. If he wins, then obviously Conor's going to want to fight for a belt. I think that would be the whole game plan. I beat Michael Chandler, give me a title shot or something like that. Possible. Loses to a Nate Diaz after that, I think then, the career is dipping down. But at least we still got the Nate fight if he loses to Michael Chandler, whereas that goes away with a Tony Ferguson loss.
I want to light up the comment section real quick. Justin Villegas, can we bring Mike Perry back and rotate fighters, coaches for him to coach against? Mike Perry's in bare knuckle fighting championships, and you're going to enjoy it, Justin. All right. I heard a birdie on my shoulder told me today that he's got a fight lined up in a couple months here. It should be announced. Was it announced? It might have already been announced. Go check.
I don't think it wasn't.
Okay. So I better shut up then. You guys will hear an announcement very soon. All right. Igor Ramos, who would be an ideal opponent for the return of Damir Ismagulov? Nobody. He retired after that fight.
He's saying he wants to come back, but then he's saying he wants an Arman Sarukian rematch, which he lost 30-27. Yeah.
Stop. Okay. I didn't know he said he wanted to come back. I thought he retired. West Coast. I hate to say Connor's going to KO Chandler round 1. Unlikely. Okay. And then
Maybe,
West
we'll
Coast
see.
UFC doesn't need Connor. Really? Is that why half of the UFC posts are power slap and the UFC and collaboration posts? My friend Jeremy's like, I unfollowed the UFC. I can't take these slap fighting posts.
Holy shit.
You know, it's like,
have you watched it yet? The slap shit? I need to watch an episode and just give my honest review. I'm going to watch the first episode in the coming days. I'll try to watch it before Saturday. I want to give my honest take because I don't know. Obviously, these are my thoughts without watching it. Fucking brain damage. Okay? There's no defense. You're just getting rocked with shots. But highly entertaining. And I do think people are going to enjoy it. And if you want to fucking sign up to get smacked in the face, no one's putting a gun to your head forcing you to do it. If that's what you want, freedom of choice, do your thing. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out, man.
Right. Well, you know me about know, you're free to do whatever you want. If you feel like getting smacked in the head, feel free.
I jokingly had my brother smack me in the face with like 20%. I'm like, these guys, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you feel that sting? Can you imagine 100%? Holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I'm good on letting anybody smack me in the face, bro. I understand it does good numbers on social media, but the original marketing for the UFC, the original thing that Joe Rogan said to Lou DiBella, for instance, in the boxing versus UFC debate was, this is real fighting. This is what an honest fight looks like. Boxing is a silly agreement where we're going to fight, we're going to duke it out man to man, but we're just going to use our hands. MMA is a agreement where we are going to use all of our limbs, where we are going to make sure the maximum amount of strikes and submissions and possibilities are legal and are included in the sport. And we're going to do it in a way where the fighters can be safe, right? So no eye gouging and groin shots, but also where we could really see martial arts on display. That's what I love about MMA. That's what I love about the UFC. That's what I love about the sport of fighting, is the honest comparison of martial arts and the openness to it. Power slap seems to be the antithesis of that to me. Power slap, we're going to stand in front of each other. You're not allowed to move, and I smack you in the face, and people share it on Instagram. If that's your thing, that's your thing. It's not my thing. I am a mixed martial arts fan, and that overlaps with power slap in just about 0 areas.
Yeah, to me, it's a circus show. It's more of a funny, like, it's more, I mean, it's not really funny, these guys getting hurt, but it's more for laughs and freak. Oh, it's more just for chaos. Like, I don't know. I think of it as like a sideshow, as like a freak show thing. Right. I think the issue lies is now that it's being promoted so much, by the UFC on their platform and everything like that. And obviously Dana White's got a big liking to it. So it's being compared to martial arts, but I think of it as not even comparable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's being pushed into that comparison because they're side by side. But to me, power slap, circus type freak show thing, martial arts, who's the baddest man on the planet? That's so big difference in the two. And I see why MMA fans dislike it, because it's being thrown in your face. You're being forced to see it. Whereas if power slap was independent to being on the UFC social media every damn week, then I think there'd be a lot less complaints. Might be less eyes too. So obviously Dana White, big ploy, big power, big money, decides, and he's choosing to promote it. And it seems like we do have people that like it. So, that's cool. God bless. I'll check it out. But yeah, I agree though. It is weird. Like, I remember when Dana White was doing that surfing thing and he's promoting that on the UFC. I'm like, what is this? What is this? This is weird, man. It's like these cross promotional things. Like,
we like fights, Dana.
Right. We're here. It's like
Zuffa boxing sounded good.
Yeah, that sounded cool to me. I'm in. Like, I like boxing a lot. Yeah. I like the agreement of straight hands too. I know Mike, he said silly agreement. That's what they said. I still like it, bro. I'm a fan.
But AJ, different. You would have to admit, yes. You could be the best boxer in the world, but then that high school wrestler might beat your fucking ass. That's crazy.
Maybe. I would just say, like, how I view boxing is we're looking at apples to oranges comparison. If a guy drives a fast car and he races it, we're not saying, oh, fuck, now we're comparing him to a guy who plays basketball. Oh, this one's better than that. Like, I think of it as sports specific. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my mindset. Like, I think of boxing as just, it's a sport of hands. And if a guy knows how to box and he punches someone in the face, he can do damage. But I'm not thinking outside of the ring. When I watch it, I'm just thinking, how good is it inside of it?
But Mike Tyson was known as the baddest man on the planet, right? You want the heavyweight champ to be the baddest man on the planet. That's what, the mixed martial arts heavyweight champion is.
Yes, agreed.
But in boxing, we gotta draw the line there somewhere then, because boxing is so limited in what it allows that it gets further away from this idea of a real fight, And luckily, the current heavyweight champion, who I would call Tyson Fury, I know some would call Usyk. We got to see that fight go down. Tyson Fury actually is open to doing other shit. So he is a gangster. He actually he was rolling around with Nick Diaz, and he's ready to, get in an MMA cage and box, Francis Ngannou. So it's cool that he actually is down to test himself more. It'd be interesting to see, but I bet you the further he gets away from boxing, the more trouble he has. And, I'm just saying that the reason why I like mixed martial arts is because you could take them out of that cage. You could put them at Walmart, and then you've got a disagreement with somebody at Walmart. They hit you in the head with a cereal box. It's on now, right?
Yeah.
They I don't know. They power slapped your mom, your sister. It's on, right? It's on.
Yeah.
If it's on, you want the UFC fighter. You don't want the boxer. And that's the reason why my Instagram handle is Mike Finch MMA, because that's draws me to this sport. It is the sport of fighting. Boxing is not. Boxing is the sport of punching, which is a very narrow thing in a fight where you have elbows, knees, submissions, takedowns, etc.
I would say boxing is a sport of sport-specific fighting, whereas MMA is fighting to mostly all no holds barred. I am a fan of knees on the ground, an opponent. Like, if you gave me MMA with the rule sets of Japan, like the Vale Chudo style, I'd like that even more, because I do think the game changes, man. If you're a good ass wrestler, but this guy's got some takedown defense, now you're putting yourself in positions to be kneed in the face on the ground when he sprawls on you. The game changes. Like, I think I would like to see the knees on fucking grounded opponents again. I'm not a fan of soccer kicks, though, because that to me is just too brutal. I think someone could get killed from that. But I think they haven't yet. So I think they could bring it in. Like, I don't know. Like, I personally would love to see mixed martial arts at its purest with an open set of rules, man. I don't even like the limitation. Oh, I put my hand on the ground. You can't knee me in the face now, where in reality you can. Like, so to make it as real as it gets, I think just allow at least knees to the face of grounded opponents, which I like that a lot. I'm a fan.
When I'm researching these Ryzen fighters and I'm watching them stomp people out and kick them in the head, it is hard to watch. But honestly, so is heel hooks in mixed martial arts. Have you seen Craig Jones, the jiu-jitsu coach of Volkanovski, grapple Vinny Magalhaes? Have you seen that fight?
I didn't watch it. No.
Okay. Here's homework for you guys watching at home, okay?
I want to check it out.
YouTube, Vinny Magalhaes versus Craig Jones. Craig Jones grabs his heel. Remember, Vinny Magalhaes said before the match, leg locks don't work on me. Jesus Christ.
Shit.
He grabs his heel. He turns his body. He completely breaks every freaking bone that connects the shin to the foot, right, for Vinny Magalhaes. His foot is backwards.
Jeez.
Vinny keeps going. Vinny keeps going. Craig is saying, your foot is broken. Vinny's like, I'm down to go. Are you? And they're like, okay, the referee should have stopped the fight. Sure enough, Craig had to grab the other leg and I don't know, fracture, tear, whatever, the other leg as well in order to get the match over. He broke both of his freaking feet. It was disgusting to watch. But do I think heel hooks should be illegal because they're hard to watch? No, there's never been a death or serious injury due to the soccer kicks or the stomps. There's no evidence to touch on to say this should be an illegal technique. Because of that, I would like to see it as well, AJ. The one thing I think that's different is when you have the cage, it's even a little worse because the head could kind of be stuck against the fence a little bit. Somebody knees you in the ropes. You kind of got more movement. So there might be a little argument to be made there, but I am all about leaving as much legal as possible. When I compete in mixed martial arts, when I watch other people, we want to know who the better fighter is. Let's get as close to that as possible. Stop nerfing the game unnecessarily.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's what I want. I want the knees and shit just to limit the gap. Because like we say, boxing is the aspect of fighting. MMA, I want to see it at its purest. I want to see how these knee techniques against the cage would work. I think it would change the sport, man. I think that even if you're a Dagestani killer, when you fail that takedown and you get kneed in the face, there's going to be some knockouts. I think with knees to the head of grounded opponents being undefeated, fuck, man, we barely see it now. Even a fucking Khabib. Holy shit.
Yeah, it changes the game, absolutely changes the game. And like I'm thinking of AJ McKee and Ryzen when he threw the legs by and landed that head kick on on his grounded opponent. I mean, come on, man, it's crazy to watch. You know, those highlights are absolutely insane. Two really quick questions. You know what? Just go to the bottom one. Igor Ramos, guys, what did you think of the Hamasi Ward fight, and what would be the next step for these fighters, dude? I was cage side. That fight was as billed. It was insane. Can you imagine Hamasi backing up as much as he did? I mean, Hamasi was trying to get away from Brennan Ward, and he just could not do it. Now, early on, the movement was really helping him. He would be too far. Boom, he would come in and explode, and he was tagging up Brennan Ward. He was kicking that lead leg early really well, too, but Brennan Ward ended up getting a hold of him, dragging him to the ground, beating him up a little bit, and when Brennan Ward hits you, I'll tell you guys what, I got to hang out with him at the hotel afterwards, too, and, you know, he was busted up, but he was excited. When you smack him on the shoulder, it feels like you're touching titanium. Brennan Ward is built out of something else. And when that guy punches you in the face, the consequences are real. Even if you don't go out, the damage is just so significant. You could even just watch that weigh-in video, AJ, when Brennan Ward is flexing and he gets underneath him and he touches his shoulder against Hamasi. You could just see the physicality difference. Hamasi's face changed. He's like, holy shit, this guy is in pit bull, and there's no better way to describe him. And then he gets on the mic and calls out Dalton Rasta. That would be insane. Dalton Rasta wants that fight so bad. He keeps poking the bear. You know, Brennan Ward wants that 170 title shot. I'd like to see that shit too. But you know, how are you not a Brennan Ward fan after that shit, AJ?
Dude, I think he's one of Bellator's best guys to bring up and market because he's super entertaining, great story. And I'm a fan of Brennan Ward. I always tune into a Brennan Ward fight. And Hamasi, man, he broke him. That shows, okay, Brennan Ward's back. He took that layoff. He looks better than ever. I love it.
Hamasi was knocking dudes out, coming off of 2 finishes, a knockout and a submission. Hamasi is like in his prime, you know, and really came in confident, I believe, but he could not, you know, slow the fight down enough, could not keep up that output, that clip to keep Brennan Ward off of him. Brennan Ward is a problem. Anybody who's going to step in that cage with Brennan Ward better be ready to go through hell, because he is.
He's a freak, man. Mike, it's been a pleasure as always to break down this card. UFC 284, bringing the heat, and we're bringing the heat with the picks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Run over to my bookie, use promo code Moneyline, get yourself a little bit of bets in and help the boys out. We appreciate everybody for supporting us, and smash those likes. And also don't forget, subscribe to Mike Finch. He's got exclusive interviews. I got the link to his channel in the description as always, my guy.
More coming. I hung out with Mark Coleman. Here I am walking up behind Fedor's teammate, you know, one of the managers maybe. He comes up, brings a Fedor shirt. Mark Coleman at the bar, rips his shirt off, puts the Team Fedor shirt on, puts the Fedor hoodie on, gives me a couple words, ode to Fedor. Some cool content I got to drop for you guys. It's coming. I appreciate the subs and appreciate you guys hanging out, and we're just gonna keep these Monday money lines going, so always come and catch us. As AJ said, smash that like button like a Dagestani. Make sure you guys are in here commenting too, not just on the live, but once AJ drops that video, and bet responsibly. You know, I think there's a couple good bets on this card, but always bet with your own head, right? Listen to what we say, take it into account, but you guys got to make that decision for yourself. I've never given out one bet on here where I say, go do this. I just tell you what I'm doing. And AJ, I will be laying a couple bets on this card, and best of luck to you as well as you put some money on Jack Della Maddalena. I saw how excited you were about that pick. There are some good ones on this card, guys. Make some money.
Much love, people. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. You'll see me tomorrow and throughout this whole week. So stay tuned. Peace, guys. Much love. See you soon.